It's nice and thick. It's set up really nicely, so I hope you give this a try. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and today I am making lemon curd. I will be making the lemon curd for my freezer or my fridge, so pretty much immediate eating, but if you use canned lemon juice or bottled lemon juice, you can actually can this recipe. So Red Homestead does have a method for using fresh lemon juice. If you want to try that, check the acidity of it, but I am going to be using fresh lemon juice. I'm going to try to not get eggshell in it, but I'm going to use fresh lemon juice. And while I did see a recipe that did call for fresh Meyer lemon juice, I think it was an older recipe and I don't believe that it is considered safe anymore. So it's best to make sure that the acidity of your lemon juice is standardized by either using bottled, or if you really want to, you could follow Red Homestead. She uses litmus paper to check what her pH was to make sure she was in the safe zone. Depends on how scientific you want to go. I would love to do that, but at the same time, it only lasts 4 to 6 months in the jar, but it lasts about a year in the freezer. So I think I'd rather it last a year. So I need 7 egg yolks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Apparently I don't know how to count. Okay. 7 egg yolks. There we go. And 4 whole eggs. I must have left an egg somewhere because I'm sure I took out 11. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yes, okay. I only took out 10 eggs. Haha. Okay, crisis averted. I can count sometimes. Okay. So, clean hands. There's lots of ways to separate eggs. So you could do the shell method, which I normally do, but this works fine too. See if we can get the shell to stay in with the yolk. Now with the whites, if you really want, you could make like a chiffon cake, or like, doesn't angel food cake call for like a ton of egg whites? I am probably just going to make a batch of cookie dough because I don't think it matters if you use whites or yolks. But we shall see. This is like the equivalent of what, 3.5 eggs in here, so there we go, last one. Okay, well now I'm definitely going to go clean my hand and I'm going to get that piece of eggshell out. Yes, it is easier to use a piece of egg to get the eggshell out, piece of eggshell, but sometimes I can get it with my fingers as well. And it ain't doing, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to get this all whisked together. And while I am doing that, I'm going to consult the recipe because I think I need to add the sugar and the zest next. Get this really well combined. You can use lime juice as well if that's the way you want to go, or if you just have a ton of limes to use up. Does not matter. They do say to scale back on the amount of lime zest because lime zest is a little more powerful or potent or whatever than lemon zest. So just be aware of that. So I need 2.5. Let me double check, make sure I am not missing something here. Yes, 2.5 cups of sugar. Calls for superfine sugar. Does suggest that if you don't have it, you can just put it in the food processor or blender or whatever. We're just going with it. Get that combined. It took 10 lemons to get this amount of lemon zest, half a cup. It also took, my lemons were pretty juicy, so it took 4 lemons to get the juice. So it does kind of depend on what you're using, bottled or not, but if you need to buy a certain number of lemons for the fresh zest, because it does say fresh, you're going to need 10 of them. And I do have my double boiler, I mean it's just a pot with water in it, simmering here. I have just under 8 quarts, so my bowl will not be in contact with the water, that's the important part with the double boiler. Okay, so I need, now that I got all this combined, I need to add the lemon juice. So that was 1 cup of lemon juice, plus a seed. And then I need 3/4 of a cup of butter, cut into chunks. Does want the butter to be cold. My butter just came out of the freezer maybe an hour ago, and yeah, it's still frozen hard. I hope that doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to get this cut up into chunks. So we'll use the salted one first. I'll put the whole salted one in, and then I will put in half of the unsalted. And that should get me my 3/4 of a cup of butter. And even sweet stuff should have a little bit of salt in it, so that's why I think it's okay to put in the salted butter. Then I don't have to worry about trying to salt it or anything later. It didn't really specify how big the chunks needed to be, so we're just going to town on it. And let me move you over a little. Got some dead lemons on my stove. So some of the lemons were actually going bad, which is a shame. Okay, so it just basically says to whisk constantly until it reaches 170. And then we will move on to the next step at that point. So I will need to bust out a thermometer. Probably need to just get one that clips on the side for this one so I can monitor the temperature a little easier. I'm not going to subject you to this. I have no idea. I'll let you know how long it takes, and then we will move on to the next step with a cutscene, because this is probably going to be a little painful. Okay, we are at 170. So I need to take it off the heat and whisk it for 5 minutes. I don't know if it was my bowl. It did seem to stall at like 160 forever. So I ended up switching to another bowl because I don't think that the Pyrex was heating up. It almost seemed like it was just maintaining the temperature. So I don't know if Pyrex insulates from the heat or something, was just resistant to heating up for a while, but it stalled for a long time. So it took me over an hour to do this, and I don't know if that's how long it's supposed to take or if it was just my bowl. Yeah. But it does seem like it got done. It is thickening, so... Now you have to be careful not to overcook it, and you do have to stir relatively constantly. I mean, I kind of stir it off and on, but you want to keep stirring to make sure it doesn't get gloppy or heats up too much in one spot and not the other. I will have the recipe linked below. It will not include canning instructions, but I will have the link in the recipe for canning instructions if you wanted to use bottled juice. And I will also try to link Red's Homestead, the lemon curd video she did, showing how she used litmus paper to make sure she was at the right pH. This recipe, it's the pH that is important. It's not the amount of sugar you have in it, it is the acid content. Otherwise, I mean, you can't can eggs and butter. So the acid is what changes the changes it so that it is safe to can, but you need to have the correct acidity. Whew, my arms are tired. Alright, that has thankfully been 5 minutes. So I am going to bring the other bowl back. It is suggested that it gets strained. I think most of that is in case you may have cooked your eggs. Some of it's to get out the lemon zest, so that kind of depends if you care or not, if you have lemon zest in there. For me, I know I have a seed in here. I've got at least one. There's probably more than one. So I am definitely going to strain it. But then after it has been stirred, cooled, strained. It is, just put it in whatever you want to store it in. There we go, I'll just get that through. I am probably going to put it in a couple of pint jars, and I will freeze. I'll freeze probably all but one. Stuff is hot. Okay. So like I said, I will get this in jars. I will get at least one cooling in the fridge. I'll probably cool them all in the fridge and then move them to the freezer. There we go. Looks nice. I'll show you how it looks after it's cooled. This is how the lemon curd turned out. Turned out really nice. I had a chance to taste it earlier and it reminded me of lemon meringue pie. I don't know if that's the same recipe as lemon curd, but it was really good. I will have the recipe linked below as well as the version on how to can it. If you give this a try and you can it and you use bottled juice, let me know if it turns out with bottled lemon juice because I'm really curious. I find bottled lemon juice tastes kind of astringent and you know, maybe there's a good lemon juice out there for this. If you know of one, let me know. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will have some videos up at the end that you might also enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead. Alright.